Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. There has been no shortage of news, both locally and nationally. So today, we put together a special panel of guests to talk about some of the headlines and their impact on African Americans. As you could see, we have already started the talking before the show began. We're going to look at the attacks between Omarosa Manigault Newman and President Trump and her charges of racism. Also, with the rise of, quote, fake news, has the public lost trust in the media? We'll hear from black journalists who were visiting Detroit, plus Detroit and the world say goodbye to the Queen of Soul. We'll talk about the legacy she leaves behind, and that's where we're going to start, remembering the Queen of Soul. Joining me are Alicia Nails, who's director of the Journalism Institute for Media Diversity at Wayne State University, political commentator and columnist Brandon Bryce, Greg Bowens, a public relations and political consultant, and Carrie Jackson, the urban conservative on Detroit 910 AM Superstation. Thanks to all of you for being here. Let's start by talking about Aretha. I think one of the things that is coming into my mind over and over now is what's the permanent way we remember her? What's the thing that we ought to do as Detroiters to say, she was here, she was one of us, she put us on the map in so many ways, and this is the way we want to remember her. Yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
It's interesting. Aretha could have lived anywhere in the world, and she chose to come back to Detroit.
Yep.
And so I think the message is you could be whatever, an entertainer, a superstar. You don't have to move across the country or move around, out of the United States. You can stay right here in Detroit and do that, and that's what she's done. And really quick, I'll tell you a quick story. She was responsible for, when someone couldn't pay for a funeral or when somebody couldn't pay for anything, secretly, she actually sponsored those things. And so that makes her legacy greater, not just her as an entertainer, but as a real, true humanist.
Yeah, as a real Detroiter.
Well, you know what, New Bethel Baptist Church is not that far from whatever this new Motown Museum complex is going to end up being. And so the people who she served and loved, who knows what's possible in terms of an Aretha Franklin Community Center, which would, be entertainment as well as serving.
Greg?
Yeah, no, certainly this is an opportunity to name some things and build some things that would honor her.
Yeah.
So there's been talk about one of the Detroit public schools being named for her. That would certainly be, I think, a good first step, and then we'll probably see the obligatory street.
Yes.
Named after
her dad has a street already, right?
Yeah.
They did that, yeah.
They did that,
yeah.
They already probably get another one.
Street outside
36
She got that role while she was
Yeah.
living.
Right.
That's right.
But we need something that serves.
Yeah.
We need something that is going to be lasting, not a Detroit public school that's going to be closed 5 years
Right.
from now.
Or
Don't
renamed.
say that.
That she is the queen. She was not just the voice of one generation, but of at least 3 generations. She was not just a singer, but a literal civil rights leader, an icon that all of us have seen in the community. We've all talked to. We've gotten to know her and the members of the family, and it's got to be something that's got to be large.
Yeah.
And it's got to be meaningful.
Right.
Such as renaming the Charles Wright Museum or something
Ooh,
of that.
Wait a minute. Charles Wright in
Work too
himself
hard. Work
was
too
somebody
hard.
to be
Absolutely not.
But and it's not just
Look at
about
Carrie already throwing grenades into the middle of the table.
I mean, Charles Wright needs to stay. But the thing is, it's not just about maintaining the memory, but it's about the give back. And I think that's what makes Aretha so powerful, is that you had this superstar who came back to Detroit and was focused on, how do I give back to the city?
Right.
But here's the one thing that we're all missing. If we don't do it right here, truth of the matter is Hollywood's already ready. Memphis is ready. New York, if her name doesn't wind up on the bottom of the marquee at the Apollo, are we going to sit still and allow the first African-American woman to be in the Hall of, to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Are we going, it's an opportunity that we can miss.
So you think we couldn't go big enough?
We cannot go. The truth of the matter is, come on, New York and New York and Hollywood are looking right now, and they're having the same discussion. And if we sit around,
they don't have what we got.
You know what? This is not pie. It's like there are only so many pieces.
Exactly.
There's enough for everybody.
I'll tell you what we
honor
do. Instead of all of these statues coming down, we need a statue of Aretha Franklin on West Grand Boulevard.
By the community service.
By the community service. There you go.
Yeah.
Since she is from the South, I think it would probably be appropriate if they, one of the statues they're tearing down of those rebellious
Replace it
Confederates,
with,
they can melt it and turn it into a statue of Aretha.
There we go.
You know.
There we go. So we can't take the Charles Wright name
No.
off
No,
the
no, come
museum,
on, man.
chiefly because his most important accomplishment was delivering me, along with like thousands of other Detroiters. Right?
Okay.
That's why his name's on the museum. All right.
Slight bias.
That's a good one.
All right.